Hi there, this is Ruben from Dutch Round 1. Thanks again for coming by, thanks for watching another episode. As always, I appreciate your support and I appreciate your time. Today we have a vocabulary lesson, so 50 new Dutch words regarding the office. But before we do that, remember to give the like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content, and let me know in the comments if this was useful for you or not. But without much further ado, let's go straight for the vocabulary. Alright, so these are 50 words which might help you when you're working in Belgium, when you're working in the Netherlands and in a Dutch speaking environment, right? So all of these words have something to do with the office. Alright, the first one is the office. Het kantoor in Dutch, that would be the office. Again, de and het. It's quite difficult in Dutch, especially to know when to use the, when to use het as an article. So it's always a good way, basically, when you learn a new word, to learn the article as well. That's why I always provide it when I do these vocabulary lessons. We continue, and the next one is het bureau. Het bureau, that would be the desk. Het bureau is the office desk. We continue, and we have de stoel. De stoel, that would be your chair. The chair is de stoel. We continue, and then of course you work for a company, and a company in Dutch we call that het bedrijf. Het bedrijf, that would be the company. We continue, and de collega, actually quite close to English, de collega would be the colleague. De collega is the colleague. Right, and then we have de vacature. Again, you can imagine what it might mean. The vacature is basically the job opening, the job vacancy. That would be the vacature. We continue, and sometimes you have een vergadering. Vergadering is a Dutch word for meeting, the meeting. Although in many Dutch-speaking working environments, when people have a meeting, sometimes they will also use the English word meeting, but the correct Dutch word would be vergadering. We continue, and we have de onderhandeling. Onderhandeling, that would be the negotiation. Negotiation is de onderhandeling. Right, then we continue, and we have de bestelling. De bestelling, that would be the order. De bestelling is the order. We continue, de prijs, which is quite close to the English one, and that would be the price. De prijs is the price. We continue, and we have de factuur. De factuur would be your invoice. The invoice is de factuur. Alright, we continue, and het bestand. Het bestand, that would be the file. Het bestand is the file. We continue, and then we have de brief. De brief, what would a brief be? Not the same as in English, far from that. It would be the letter. De brief is the letter. And then we look at some verbs. So iemand aannemen. Aannemen is to employ someone. Iemand aannemen. And then the opposite, ontslaan. Ontslaan, that would be basically to fire someone. Iemand aannemen, to employ someone. Iemand ontslaan, to fire someone. We continue, and we have transporteren. Transporteren is very close to English, and it's basically to transport. Transporteren, to transport. We continue, and then we have to sometimes use the verb betalen, and betalen means to pay. Betalen is to pay. Alright, and then factureren is also used quite commonly in office lingo, and that would be to invoice, right? Factureren is to invoice. Een factuur, that would be an invoice. Factureren is to invoice a company, to invoice someone, and so on. We continue, and we have verkopen. Verkoop means to sell. Verkopen is to sell. And of course, the opposite of that would be kopen. Well, kopen would be to buy. Okay? Verkopen is to sell. Kopen would be to buy. And we continue with the next word, which is written exactly as in English. However, the pronunciation is a little bit different. We say het contract. Het contract, that would be the contract. Het contract is the contract. We continue with another verb, and that would be verzenden. Verzenden is to send. To send, right? And then we also have the opposite of that, and ontvangen. Ontvangen, that would be to receive. Verzenden, to send. Ontvangen, to receive. We continue. De promotie. De promotie, quite close again to English, and that would be the promotion, right? We continue, and then de opslag, right? De opslag is completely different from English, and it means the salary raise. Salarisopslag, the salary raise, okay? Het salaris then, of course. Het salaris is quite similar to English, and het salaris is the salary. But sometimes we will also call it het loon. Het loon is also the salary, the wages, and so on. Right? Then we also have the word de overname. De overname, that would be your takeover. The takeover. We continue. De conferentie, again, quite close to English. We can more or less guess what it means, and indeed it is the conference. De conferentie is the conference. We continue, and we have de pauze of de werkpauze, and that would be the break. De pauze is the break. We continue, and het notitieboek, that would be the notepad. Het notitieboek is the notepad. We continue, and sometimes you have to work extra. Well, that basically would be het overwerk, and het overwerk would be overtime, right? Or you can also do overuren, and overuren, that would be extra hours, so also overtime, just said in a different way. When you work for a long time, then you have a lot of ervaring, and ervaring, that would be the experience. De ervaring is the experience. We continue, and I'm sure on the work floor you have many of them. Het gesprek, that would be the conversation. Het gesprek is the conversation. We continue. De samenwerking. Samen means together. Werken means to work. So samenwerken is to work together. So the samenwerking will be the collaboration, right? We continue. De concurrent. Concurrent is also quite different than English, and a concurrent would be a competitor. De concurrent, the competitor. We continue, and sometimes when there's a problem, you have to find an oplossing. And what is an oplossing? Well, an oplossing is a solution. De oplossing is the solution. We continue, and in negotiating terms, sometimes you need to find a compromis, quite close to English. Sometimes you'll hear compromis, sometimes you will also hear compromis. Both of them can be used, and that would be the compromise, right? We continue. De informatie, I think this one is a little bit of a no-brainer, and it means the information. We continue. De opbrengst, completely different from English. De opbrengst, that would be the profit or the profits of the company. Het verlies, well, that would be the opposite. Het verlies, that would be the loss for the company. We continue with de winst. De winst would also be the profit or the profits of the company. And then, of course, this one is also quite similar to English. De evaluatie, that would be the evaluation, all right? The evaluation. The evaluatie, the evaluation. All right, and then, of course, you also have the lift. The lift basically avoids you from taking all of those stairs, and then the lift, that would be the elevator, right? And then we've just talked about the stairs or the staircase, and that would be de trap or the stairs, right? We continue, and of course for planning things you need de kalender, and the calendar is quite similar to English, and that would be the calendar. The calendar, the calendar. We continue, and then we also have het werkschema. Het werkschema, that would be the work schedule, right? We continue. The computer. The computer is exactly the same like in English, just the pronunciation is a little bit different, and that would be your computer. The computer, the computer. And then the last one for today, that would be het scherm. Het scherm, that would be the screen. Het scherm, the screen. Alright, so these were the 50 words for today. I hope you find them useful. I hope you'll be able to use them in your work-related environment, especially if you work in a Dutch-speaking environment. I want to thank you again for watching. Remember to give the like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content, and let me know in the comments if this was useful for you or not. And as for me, I want to thank you again. I want to wish you a great rest of the day, and stay tuned for a new episode of Dutch Round 1. Ciao!